How can the Hypnotic Awakening Experience help you to get unstuck and overcome perfectionism, procrastination, people pleasing, and imposter syndrome, and maybe even some kinds of ADHD? And I'm going to tell you that all these things have some stuff that's in common. They all have the fear of failure behind them, and they all have high levels of stress and anxiety, low self esteem, self doubt, avoidance behaviors, impact on productivity and personal growth, the need for external validation. These are all things that are in common. The cognitive distortions and the internal conflict, and the voices in your head and the things that you say to yourself, paralysis by analysis, the cycle of negative reinforcement. This is all stuff that is common between all these things, right? And people who are ADHD have a lot of this stuff too. And there's a lot of people that think they have ADHD that really don't, and they just have this other thing going on here. And what's really going on is that you faced rejection when you were young and a high amount of criticism. And that is what comes from being brought up by parents in an enmeshed family. What they do is they treat you in such a way, there's at least one parent where you can't get the validation that you need from them. You rely on them for your validation. They tell you that they're responsible to validate you and that you need to behave and you need to act in such a way that controls their mood, right? Because if you behave, then they'll be happy. But if you misbehave, then they'll be upset. So they place you in control of their emotional state. And while you're in control of that emotional state, then it's up to you to keep them happy. And we're talking about parents here. Parents, adults in general, just aren't happy. And so all of a sudden we think that, well, we have something wrong with us because we can't keep them happy because their unhappiness is the result of us, right? We take that personally, especially up to the first 7 or 8 years of your life. Everything evolves around you. There is no distinction. You are the blame for everything, right? So if there's something going on in the family, it is your fault. You take that on personally. You're the one who's not making your parent happy. That's why you get into this people pleasing and stuff. And this parent that you can never make happy, that never validates you, you'll be doing something for them, right? They want you to perform a certain way. And, they'll give you the guideline here, you achieve this and I'll be happy, right? And then you achieve that and then you want your validation, but they won't validate you. They'll make it seem like, no, I didn't say that. I put the standard up here. They didn't, but they're going to tell you that anyways, right? They're gaslighting you is what they're doing. And so they raise the bar for you. And then you go out and you meet that requirement. Then you go and say, hey, am I good enough now? And they say, no, you're not. You didn't get it. You didn't understand me. And they gaslight you some more, saying that you didn't understand what they said or deny that they said what you think that they said. And so they set the bar up here again. And so you go out and you accomplish that. So you're up here now and you just keep coming back, right? They put it here, you come here. Then they put it here, there, here, there, here, there. And you just can't ever get to that spot where they're happy with you. You can't. It's impossible. This is an unpleasable parent. And this stuff all comes from the same kind of upbringing and the same kind of experience that we have. This is programming, right? We're programmed to fear moving forward, right? Because we're going to get that rejection. People are going to say these things to us. People might leave us. And if we actually put it out there and we fail, then what, right? Then we'll know that we're no good. And so if we don't actually do it, then we don't have to find out whether or not we're good enough. It's the procrastination. It's the imposter syndrome that got in the way. It wasn't me. It was this other thing that was going on. Now, the whole thing comes from the kind of parenting that I'm talking about here. It comes from an enmeshed family. And so there's a lack of love in the family. And love needs to come from an external source. And love does not come from outside of you. Nobody can give you love. Nobody can take love from you. Love is who you are at your core. It is your feeling. It is your vibration. And you feel it when you're in alignment with your true inner self, your authentic self, when you're in alignment with that. And, science and therapy, they haven't figured out that we have this thing called a soul inside of us. I believe we have a soul. And when we're out of alignment with our soul, then this is when these things happen. And when you're brought up by people who are out of alignment with their soul, they teach you out of alignment stuff. They look for love and happiness outside. It's up to other people to do things to make them happy, right? And that's what we all end up believing. But then people don't reciprocate, make us happy. And as much as we try to make other people happy, we have the people-pleasing paradox. I have never, ever met a pleased people pleaser. Never, not one. No, they might make somebody happy once in a while. But you know what? They always think that other people are not reciprocating. They're not returning what you want back, right? Because when we're doing this stuff, when we're people pleasing, we're doing it for a reason. We're expecting somebody to reciprocate and give us what we need back. We're trying to make other people happy, and we push them up to here so that they're happy. And then we expect them to reach back and pull us up and make us happy and bring us up there. But they don't. They don't reciprocate. They don't do that for us. And you know, they can't do that for us. In fact, we can't push them up there. They can only meet us at the level that we're capable of, right? Our vibration. If our vibration is here, we're not happy. We don't make other people happy. They might be happy on their own, but we can't make them happy because we're not of that vibration. The only way we can make other people happy is that we have to raise our vibration to happy. Then they can meet us up here. We can influence them, but that'll be their choice. We can't force them to come up here if we're happy. We just can't do that. So we cannot affect people the way that we think we can. And so all this stuff comes down to the upbringing that we had, the experiences that we had, and your parents would have rejected you. Another issue that's common with people is abandonment. That's the whole fear of rejection thing, abandonment. And abandonment doesn't have to be much. There are people that I have talked to that have had all kinds of things happen to them. I've heard all kinds of crazy stories about people being abandoned or rejected. And it doesn't need to be that much. Rejection or abandonment could be a parent that works too much. Dad's off, traveling the globe with his job, and he's not home very much. Right? That's abandonment. When dad works a lot of overtime, that's abandonment. When mom is sitting there and won't focus on you, and she sits on her phone and she's distracted, or just watching TV and says, "Don't bother me, leave me alone." Maybe she's got friends over and they're talking, "Leave us alone. Kids should be in the basement." That's abandonment. They call us the latchkey kids, my generation, right? And that's abandonment. Those were good times. We had a lot of good stuff going on, but it also gave a lot of us abandonment issues at the same time. And that's what I help people with, is overcoming abandonment. That fear of rejection comes from that whole abandonment thing. And that's why we people please. That's why we have this perfectionism. We're trying to please that parent who's unpleasable. And we continue to please that parent in other people, in our clients, other people that we're trying to please, right? When we can't please our parent, we'll try to find other people. We'll find a mate that's just like that parent, or we'll find a boss that's just like that parent, and we'll continue that cycle of trying to please all these people. Or we'll try to serve clients who are just like that parent, and we're trying to help them, but we can't help the people who don't want help. That's not going to work. So in your family, you would have experienced high expectations and criticism, a lack of affection or conditional love, unpredictable or chaotic environment, neglect or lack of support, bullying, social exclusion, and a lack of self-love. That's the big thing here, is a lack of self-love. And so in the Hypnotic Awakening Experience, you're going to find self-love. In fact, it's hard to find self-love when you have years and years of crap that are covering it up. And with all this crap covering up your inner self, right? You're protecting yourself. This is what it's all about. You're protecting yourself. You're protecting your inner being. And we'll use this light to, here's your inner self. And you're protecting it. You're covering it up like a suit of armor. And these are all protective things based on the past trauma, and you're hanging on to it still. So in the Hypnotic Awakening Experience, we have the mental and emotional purge, where you release all that stuff that you've been hanging on to. You release all that stuff so that we clear the path so that we can find your light, the light inside. That is your love, right? So that is your love inside. You can find the self-love that's inside of you. And once you do that and you have that self-love, then all this other stuff just starts to fall away. the procrastination, the imposter syndrome, the perfectionism, all that, it's not needed anymore. And it just starts falling away because your beliefs change once you find that inner light. Once you find your inner light, your inner power, then you're able to speak your voice. You find your authentic self and you align with that, and you can start moving forward again. And we also find your purpose, your mission, why you're here. We find out who you are as a being. You get realigned and reconnected with your soul, and it's a life-changing experience. That's why it's an awakening. It's not a spiritual awakening. It's different than a spiritual awakening. We're using hypnosis to create an awakening, and you awaken into your true authentic self, the inner being that's inside of you, and you become that powerful, empowered version of you that you were meant to be. So if you want to overcome perfectionism or people-pleasing or procrastination or imposter syndrome, or if you just want to get unstuck, or if you want to get over your ADHD symptoms, then the Hypnotic Awakening Experience is for you. There's much more to it than that. You're going to find self-love. You're going to find that all love is self-love, and from there, you radiate. You stand in your vibration of love, and you radiate love out into the world because you are your true authentic self. And when you're your true authentic self, then you can do anything. You can record a video like this. I used to not be able to do this, and I'd have to read from a script, and it was a horrible experience for me. It took me like 10 years to be able to do this, and it wasn't until I found inside of me that self-love and overcame all those symptoms myself. So I'm a guide that can help you through to the other side. And the Hypnotic Awakening Experience, whether you're doing the live version, whether you're doing the course, it's an amazing experience meant to awaken your true authentic self. So whether you're doing a live version of the Hypnotic Awakening Experience, whether you're doing the course or you're in a group session, you're going to have an amazing experience. And of course, the most powerful experience is when you do it live, in person, one-on-one. That's the most powerful. But the course gets most people what they need. And doing the course makes it much easier to do the live session because you already know how to do the hypnosis. You've already done the mental and emotional purge. We can laser focus on what you need after you do the course. So welcome to the Hypnotic Awakening Experience. I hope you make that decision to buy this course because it's going to be an amazing experience. And when you awaken from this experience, you'll awaken as the new version of you that you were always meant to be. So join the course now, and I'll see you on the other side.